In this project, what I'm going to do is make this turtle explode and then bring him into Toom Studio. I know making a turtle explode is not exactly right, but no turtle will be harmed in this experiment. So what I'm going to do is show you that I'm in Flash and I have this turtle file, which is a PNG. This file is a PNG file. And I'm simply going to copy this. I'm going to create a new layer. And I'm going to choose Paste right in place. So I'm going to choose Edit, Paste in Place. So I have two exact copies of this turtle. So I'm going to go ahead and name the first layer here, Turtle. And then I want to move these frames over for this turtle here. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight them all by holding down the Shift key. I'm going to move this over like so. The idea is that I want the animation to play right here, and then when it gets here, I want the explosion to happen. So on layer 5, which is where the explosion is going to occur, I'm going to go to my Insert menu, and I'm going to choose Timeline Effects. Then I'm going to go to Effects, and I'm going to choose Explode. The Explode dialog box will open in just a few seconds for our timeline effects. And as you see, we get a preview of what's going to happen here. And we can change the direction of the explosion, and we can change the duration, and we can also change the arc size of the pixels and all kinds of other parameters. But for now, I'm going to choose OK. And we'll give it a couple of seconds to render the explosion and place the frames in the timeline. And when I scrub the playback head, we see that we have our explosion. And I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button, which is the return key, and we see that we have our effect. Now I'm going to go ahead and manually scrub it and make sure everything looks good. And I'm going to bring this now into our Toom Studio workspace by choosing File, Export, Export Movie. And I'm going to export this to my desktop as Explosion. And of course, I'm going to save it as a Flash file, a SWF or SWIF. I'm going to choose Flash Player 6 to make sure it's compatible. And once again, I mentioned earlier that you have to pretty much play around with these settings to see which ones work with your version of Toom Studio. And I usually choose a setting that's a little older to make sure that whatever new effects are going to be in the new version of Flash will work with Toom Studio, or any application I'm going to export to. I'll go ahead and click OK. And now I'm going to switch to Toom Studio. And I'm going to go to my drawing view here just to create a background very quickly. So I'm going to grab my rectangle tool and I'll draw. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'll import an image instead. So I'm going to right click and I'm going to import an image for this background instead of drawing one. So I'm going to grab this forest landscape and I'm going to go to my camera view and resize this. Now what I'm going to do is bring in that movie. So I'm going to go to File, Import File. And I saved it on my desktop. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Explosion.swf, SWIF. Open. And we'll give it a couple of seconds to bring that whole file into Toom Studio. And there is the explosion. Now all I'm going to do, so I'm going to go to the bottom of my workspace here. And I'm going to extend the image, the background, so that it matches the entire duration of the animation. So I'm going to right click. And I'm going to go ahead and extend the exposure for the backdrop so we see it. And now I'm going to go to the very beginning of our timeline, and I'm going to hit return to see our new animation. So you can use this explosion effect to make anything explode in your Toom Studio scene, such as anything at all. You know, you can have a chair explode or whatever you want to, and just apply that effect and bring it right on into Toom Studio. Just make sure you're using a PNG file so that all the transparency information will remain intact.